In our previous video, we talked about polar patterns in microphones, and in this video, we're going to talk about something that we call in the Ambisonics world, beamforming. However, I want to link the previous video with this video talking about the polar patterns in an Ambisonics microphone. So if you know everything about polar patterns in traditional microphones, you can continue watching this video. But if you have any doubt, I encourage you to watch the previous video before watching this one, because after this video, I'm going to show you something really exciting that I have been working on for the past year and a half. My name is Alejandro and we are the Audio Brewers. We have already talked about these multi-diaphragm microphones and how they work. However, you can also combine these microphones to create stereo signals. For example, if you were to put these two microphones in cardioid mode, you will be able to grab a stereo signal by just putting them, a little bit oriented to one of the sides. However, I want to talk about a specific stereo technique that exists, which is called MS stereo. I'm just gonna go really quick through it, which is pretty much when you have one microphone in cardioid mode grabbing whatever is in front of the listener, and the other microphone in figure of 8 mode grabbing whatever is on the left and on the right of the listener. And well, as you remember, the figure of 8 has one side to be positive and one side to be negative. So when you combine the signal with the cardioid signal, and if you sum them, you will grab the whole positive side, and if you subtract them, you will grab the whole negative side. And this is how you are going to grab a stereo signal from two microphones that have different polar patterns. And then you have MS on steroids, which is Ambisonics. If you were to combine 3 figure of 8 microphones with one omnidirectional microphone, just imagine one figure of 8 looking up and down, one figure of 8 looking left and right, and one figure of 8 looking front and back, and then use the phase difference between all these microphones against one omnidirectional microphone, you will be able to grab a 3-dimensional sphere of sound around all this huge array of microphones. So this is where Ambisonics grabs its theory from, and this is a very effective way of summarizing this whole huge array of microphones that would exist otherwise. This is an Ambisonics microphone, and this microphone will grab all the sound around the listener, and it doesn't have a polar pattern and it doesn't have a channel, but at the same time it has every single polar pattern and every single channel. Why does this happen? Well, because you are grabbing the 3-dimensional signal, right? All around the listener. But then, because you have equations that have been creating to decode this signal, you can actually grab the polar pattern on any direction you want, and you can grab any polar pattern from omnidirectional to cardioid to figure of 8 and whatever exists in between. So pretty much what you can do is have an Ambisonics microphone, and then you can create a cardioid polar pattern, and then you can start reducing this size of the cardioid lobe just to grab a little bit more from behind so that you make it more directional until it becomes figure of 8. And so this is what we pretty much call beamforming in Ambisonics, which is having the opportunity to just point at a specific place on the 3-dimensional signal and then just try and create a polar pattern that satisfies grabbing the sound from that place while at the same time rejecting whatever is happening around this polar pattern. Ambisonics has different orders, and the higher the order, the narrower these figure of 8 or cardioid polar patterns are, which is pretty cool because this is a first order Ambisonics microphone, but if you were to have a second, third or seventh order Ambisonics signal, the cardioid polar pattern will be very narrow, and the figure of 8 will be even narrower. So you can play between the cardioid and the figure of 8 just to grab a beam at a specific orientation, and like that you can create a beam of audio to grab audio from that specific corner. It's really cool, and there is a lot of theory, and there are a couple of algorithms that are really good to grab beams of audio. So if we analyze these polar patterns, you can see here that we have a first order Ambisonics signal with a cardioid polar pattern. You can see that it's a perfect cardioid, just like an ordinary microphone. However, if we go to second order, you can see that the cardioid signal is much more narrower. You have much more rejection in the sides or in the back, so the beam becomes narrower, so the resolution of whatever you are pointing at is much greater. What happens if we go to third order? In third order, the cardioid signal is almost just like a small blob, so it's really narrow. Let me just hide the first and the second order. you can see that the polar pattern is very, very narrow. This is impossible to create with an ordinary microphone. You definitely need a third order ambisonic signal. So what happens if we go to seventh order ambisonic, which is an insane resolution? Check it out. In seventh order, the blob is super narrow, which means that you are literally grabbing whatever is right in front and you are rejecting whatever is on the other side. This is how you can decode an ambisonic signal to get you a beam. There are several beam algorithms, but this is the most basic, which gives us a cardioid signal. And this is pretty much what beamforming is on paper. I want to go deeper in this subject, however, I'm going to do it in a third video. So I encourage you to watch the previous video, to watch this video, and to get ready for the next video because I have something really, really exciting to show you. My name is Alejandro, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers!